All right, Shalom. First, giving all acknowledgement to Yahweh Bashim Shai. Double honors to my teachers, beginning with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And all right, so I pulled this clip. Um, Here's the thing. Pretty much the point of this video. I just want to get into a dream that I had. It's a little complex. So, like I said, that's why I pulled this clip from this show. And then I wasn't originally planning on doing this video. I was contemplating on doing this video, but I saw this clip just scrolling through social media. I thought I'd look it up, and sure enough, this clip that I just showed from this TV show, it best describes what I'm about to explain. All right, because in this dream that I had, and it's this dream is not like some super deep dream or anything. I just, like I said, I was even contemplating on doing this video, but again, I saw this clip, and it caught my eye because I never seen this show before. I've never heard of the show or anything. I never seen her or anything. So I was just telling myself, maybe the spirit wants me to do a video on it, maybe, because lately I've been having dreams, but this particular dream I had what I remember in the dream. I remember certain things, but what I remember in this dream, like how you see in this video, this clip that I played, I remember running. I was running from these. I don't know if it was. It appeared in the dream as they were zombies. But like I said, in the dream, I remember just running. I was constantly running. But again, in the dream, it appeared that I was running from zombies. It seemed to be, like the zombies that you see in these different movies. But later in the dream, I was running because again, in the dream, I was constantly running, and there it was multiple. It was of these. I guess people bugged out of their minds. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what they were exactly, but again, the best way that I can describe it to be, they appeared to be as zombies. That's how I took it in the dream, because these people, they were bugged out. They were bugged out of their minds because they wanted to. In the dream, it appeared they wanted to eat me. So that's why, that's how I took in the dream. I took it as these were zombies. But it later appeared in the dream. It later appeared that because in the dream, these zombies, like in this clip that I showed, well, in this clip, this chick, she wasn't a zombie or anything, but this is again, I played this clip because this is the best way I can interpret it. But in the dream, it appeared, because these zombies, they were somewhat conscious. They were covered in blood. They were eating people. Um, and I was just running from a whole. I was running from a whole lot of them. There was a few people like me, which I'm gonna explain in a little bit, but um, yeah, I was running from a hell of a lot of them. They were everywhere. Um, again, it appeared that they tried to, eat me because in the beginning of the dream, it was just me. And later on, I was running because I was running, man, and I was, I was running, running all over the place. I didn't stop. I didn't get tired. I was just running. And one thing I also noticed in the dream, I was running super fast. So that's another thing that I noticed. You know, I was running. I was dodging these just I'll just call them bug outs. I was dipping and dodging, right? Um, and I also noticed in the dream what I can remember, because again, there were so many of them. At some point, because it seemed like I was running for hours. It seemed like I was running for hours and hours, but again, I didn't get tired. I didn't slow down. I was running super fast. They couldn't catch up to me, but there was just so many of them, and it got to a point. It got a little bit overwhelming, and then once it got to that point where it was just too many to run through. I noticed in the dream I started jumping very high distances, right? Um, and I know I remember in the dream, after a while I would jump higher and higher because again, these things. Um, there's a clip in the movie called I believe it's called World War Z with Brad Pitt. There's a clip in there where you see like a big wall of some sort, right? And you would have the zombies. They were pretty much run on top of one another. They were pretty much because the thing with the in the movie, they were fast too. They were running a hella fast too, but they weren't as fast as me. That's why they couldn't keep up because I was running. I was running so fast. They were running fast too, but they weren't running as fast as me. But it got to the point where they were so fast, and there were so many of them. They would pile up on top of one another, just like in the movie, the World War Z. Like I said, you see there's clips in the movie where you would have all those zombies. They were running on top of one another, piling up one another, and it got to the point where they were able to, um, you know, um, pretty much climb over the wall and whatnot. Well, that's what was going on in this dream. They were piling up on top of one another, trying to get me. As I jumped higher, they would pile up and try to you know uh, and, pretty much grab for me. So that's why I would, like I said, I noticed in the dream I would jump higher, and I would jump higher and higher. I was in the dream I was you know jumping on top of buildings. I was jumping on top of light poles because I remember it started in trying to remember. um it would appear to be like a lab of some sort. I don't remember how I got in, But I just remember, being in this building. It appeared like a lab. I remember military personnel. I remember people in, like those hazmat suits and whatnot. I remember looking at a camera monitor. I was seeing people being eaten, the place being overrun, and I don't remember much, but I remember, just running. I started running throughout the building. These things were trying to get me, um, and that's how I ended up, in a like I guess it would be like just some city. I don't know. Like I said, I remember tall buildings, jumping on top of buildings, light poles. Again, I was jumping and I was getting, just jumping higher and higher because these things are, they were piling up. Um, but um, and eventually, um, I noticed a very small amount of um, it was a very small amount of, like a small handful of other people. They were doing the same thing eventually because again, I was running so much, and again, like they showed in this clip, they got exhausted and whatnot, but in this dream I didn't get tired. These creatures, they didn't get tired, and I just remember, I was just dodging and weaving them all. I was running so much, like I said, it appeared I was running for hours, but I didn't get tired. I was just running, and then eventually, like I said, it got overwhelming, so I just started jumping very high distances. Um, and then not too long after that, that's when I started seeing other people. I just started seeing them jumping. Didn't really have time to, like sit down and connect with them because there were so many of these things. But like I said, in the dream, it appeared to they appeared to be zombies. Seeing these creatures, because there was other people. They didn't have this. I would say I'm just gonna call it spiritual power. They didn't have this spiritual power that mean that um these other folks had. There were some people, they were left behind. They were getting eaten. They were getting mauled. But yeah, it was so bad that we didn't have time to, me and the other the other people, the other folks. We didn't have time to really sit down and talk to one another. When I just remember jumping, and then I remember seeing other people jumping. Me looking at them. They were, they it was so bad that like I said, they didn't, we just didn't really have time to talk or anything. We were just jumping, jumping high distances, um, and pretty far too. Um, but it just brought, um, well, let me say this because, like I said, in the dream, I interpreted them as zombies. I thought they were zombies, but later in the dream, as I was running, I noticed these things were these creatures, these bug outs. They were somewhat conscious, like this clip I played. These things, they were conscious. They were talking, and looking back in retrospect, um, maybe these could have been two-thirds or, or two-third Jakes, or you know troops with those exoskeleton suits or whatever the case may be. Looking back at it now, because like I said, these things, they were talking. and they were from what I can remember, they were speaking in a dialect that uh, they weren't speaking English. They were speaking in a dialect that I couldn't understand. They were well communicating with themselves. I remember, every now and then, a few of them will, look up and point at me, and they were speaking this dialect. You know, they would pretty much all eyes on me. They would all look up and point, and then they would start chasing me. But again, they were speaking it in their own dialect. So I wasn't able to understand them. So again, looking back at it retrospect, maybe these were two-third Jakes, or some female troops or something, or whatever the case may be. I didn't. It wasn't clear to me at that time, but I do, like I said before, I do remember when I was in this building, whatever. I did see camouflage shoots. It was clear that there were, some type of military troops. So it's not clear to me on um, as far as these people, chasing me. I don't. It's not clear to me, what they were or who they were. But again, thinking back on it retrospect, um, because I was just thinking and meditating on this on this, and maybe what came to my mind. And again, it's just my speculation. What came to my mind was um, something happened to where they turned these because I remember this in the dream. Like I said, I was jumping on light poles and towers and stuff. And I just couldn't catch a break, so I was just jumping around, jumping and just jumping, and it's just jumping, jumping all over the place. But one thing I do remember seeing in the video is these towers. Um, because I remember jumping on one tower, and as these things were climbing up the tower, um, I was, I barely had time to, look. It was almost like a split second. I had time to, jump on this one tower, look to see where I was going to jump next, and then, I would jump to it because, these things are, they were fast, man. Um, but I remember something, or excuse me, thinking back, looking back, retrospect, something happening to where they turned these 5G towers on. People with those chips. People they took these chips, and once they turned these 5G towers on, because I think that's why I was in the building. I was in this building. They were trying to get me to take this chip. They were trying to put this thing in me, but I just wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. They were trying to convince me. I think in the dream they were about to torture me. I think, um, because I just remember being in this building, and I was in this the little like where you can go to the hospital, and they make you put the hospital those hospital clothing on. I remember being in that. Um, Something happened to where I don't know. It was like a breakout or something. Something happened in the building, and that's how I was able to get loose. But something happened to where, long story short, they pretty much they turned these 5G towers on, and um, people started losing their minds. People started bugging out. Because, like I said, in this movie, I mean, excuse me, in this dream, Um, I thought they were zombies, but again, they were speaking in a dialect I couldn't understand. They were able to communicate with each other, but I wasn't it. I couldn't understand this dialect. You know, so it just made me think. This stream, it just made me think. Like I said, I've been having these dreams, these I would say these strange dreams lately, and this one, it kind of did the it kind of did it for me. I was like, maybe I should, do a video. Um, but this particular dream, it just had me thinking, on things like the spiritual powers that certain brothers are going to be getting, because that's what I perceived in this dream when I seen these other guys, they were jumping high. I can only assume that in the dream, as I was running and running and running for hours, trying to, ducking and dodging and weaving these things, they were doing the same thing too, just in a different part. And then once I started jumping on top of stuff, that's when I noticed them. So it was almost like we were in a sense, in a way, we were side by side to an extent. You know, not saying like arm's length or anything, but because once I started jumping, I seen these other guys, just assuming that they're brothers, of some sort. They started jumping too, and it was like we were going somewhere. It seemed like we were going to a particular place because again, everything was in unison. That's what I'm trying to say. That's how I'm trying to explain it. Once I jump, I seen these brothers jump. It was like we were all in unison. We were all trying to go to a particular place. You know, but again, so like I said, it just made me think of some of the precepts dealing with spiritual powers. So just go ahead and get a couple. I don't want to make this too long. Um, Beginning with Psalms 110 and 3, it says, "Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, in the beauties of holiness. From the womb of the morning, thou hast the dew of thy youth." So, just to show that there is coming a time that certain brothers are going to be, getting these spiritual powers, and they're going to be doing all type of things, all type of um, a lot of spiritual intervention. A lot of things are going to be taking place. You know, because it's a far fetched idea. In this world and in this society that these things can happen. You know, in this dream, man. Like I said, I was running super fast, man. I was just ducking and weaving and bobbing, all over the place. Just like the stuff that they see in the movie. What Esau shows in the movies. You know, there was so many of these things. Not to mention the point where started just jumping very high distances. You know, this is a far fetched idea for people in the world. People who don't believe. Spiritual powers. You know, but men of the faith. Of course, we believe in these things. All right. We know these things to happen or are going to happen, and we hope that um, we be of that small remnant, because we know it's going to get bad out here. All right, and let me get this, and you know, you know, when Esau comes down, um, you know, the the Lord, he's going to lift up the standard. As it says right here in Isaiah 59:19, it says, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. Right. So again, when Esau comes in, and we're tempted with that chip, um, we believe, that the Lord, he's going to start doing a lot of miraculous things in the defense of his elect. It's going to get so bad out here. Esau with his technology and his weaponry, the only way to combat it is with spiritual power, spiritual intervention, and like I said, just this dream that I had, it just had me meditating on these things, because I often, watch, a lot of brothers videos when it comes to their testimonies and their these dreams that they be having, and like I said, I just recently started having these dreams. Very it's very it's the word that I'm looking for, because I don't really remember them in detail, but this particular dream, it was pretty vivid, you know. Like I said, that's why kind of prompted me to do this video, just my own little testimony. But spiritual power, that's something that is definitely coming, and again, like I said, and those of the faith, we hope to be those men, you know. Real quick, going to Acts 1 and 8, it says, I started verse 7. It says, and he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth. So again, these are things that have happened throughout time. Certain men. You read about these stories like Samson and Gideon and all these all the great men before us. Our forefathers. You read about the apostles, that all the acts that the apostles did. Because it is written that Yahweh would pretty much the Spirit will be on us to do more works. If I'm saying this right, the Spirit will be on us to do more works than Yahweh did, being that he's not here to do it himself, right? And of course also us being joint heirs with Yahweh, right? It only makes sense that the this power is given unto his men, right? So again, like I said, those are the faith. We believe in these things concerning spiritual power. And, when all hell breaks loose, certain brothers are going to be given that spiritual power. The power to manipulate the elements, to disappear and reappear, run crazy distances and all type of stuff, lifting up tanks and breaking tanks in half, all type of stuff, man. Teleportation, all that good stuff, man. Get this, because this is what initially had me, just meditating, dealing with these spiritual powers. Because like I said, in this dream, I was running super fast. Wisdom of Solomon 3 and 7. It says, in the time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. So, you know, when that time comes, you know, you're going to have certain brothers running so fast, you know, it's going to be causing sparks on the ground, you know, little, um, little, like a good example is, that's why, they make these shows and these movies dealing with these superheroes like Flash. All right, that's what I pictured myself in this dream. You know, running so fast. You know, he had sparks flying off, causing little mini fires and whatnot. You know, but again, it's only a certain few that they believe these things aren't too far fetched. You know, because these are the things that it was told that was going to happen. You know, certain brothers are going to get these spiritual powers. You know, they're going to be able to do these things. You know, and again, this is not nothing new. You know, these things have happened before. You know, real quick, go to Zechariah 12 and 8 or 9. 8. Zechariah 12 and 8. It says, in that day shall Yahweh defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as the Most High, as the angel of Yahweh before them. So, you know anything about David, man, King David, and, his mighty men, man, they were doing incredible things during their time. You know, you can, read about, some of those acts in, I believe it's First Chronicles, the 11th chapter. You know, those mighty men, those valiant men. You know, men with super strength. Like I said, lifting up tanks and tossing them like they're nothing, breaking down doors and tearing up buildings, all type of stuff, man. You know, so yeah, man. All in all, it's just a little faith booster to me because, like I said, I watch these videos with these other, these brothers. They do these videos, the little testimonies of their, the dreams that they be having, and I've never really, experienced, any dreams or visions or nothing like that. But again, this was, just a little faith booster for me, and Yahweh Ratazal, it was, faith boosting to, whomever it may be, whoever sees this video, you know. So, I don't want to prolong this video. I'll go ahead and end it off there. Giving all acknowledgement to Yahweh Shemo Shai and double honors to my teachers, beginning with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And until next time, I say shalom.